I step into my bedroom and freeze. My heart stutters to a full stop, then lurches into a frantic rhythm. Giselle is standing in front of my full-length mirror, her slim silhouette wrapped in ivory satin that glows in the afternoon light pouring through my window. My wedding after-party dress, the one I hunted for 3 exhausting months, visiting boutique after boutique, scrolling endless designer portfolios until my eyes blurred. The one that made James' entire face soften when I showed him the original sketch from the designer, the one he said looked like it had been drawn straight from a dream. My grandmother's diamond earrings hang from Giselle's ears, scattering tiny prisms of light each time she moves her head. The heirlooms that Grandma Rose promised would belong to me on my wedding day. Giselle angles her chin, steadying herself with satisfaction, completely unaware that I'm standing behind her, watching my own reflection displaced by hers. The satin drapes over her shoulders and falls along her frame as if tailored to her body, but it wasn't made for her. It was made for me. "What are you doing with my wedding dress?" My voice barely lifts above a breath, but the question lands heavily enough that Giselle turns. Instead of guilt, instead of even mild embarrassment, her face brightens as if I've just complimented her. "Helena, perfect timing." She smooths her palms down the fabric, admiring the way it hugs her waist. "It looks better on me anyway. Mom agrees." The words strike like a slap. A floorboard creaks behind me. I turn slowly. My parents linger in the doorway, wearing expressions that blend discomfort with stubborn resolve. They knew. Of course they knew. "Honey," Mom steps forward, her tone syrupy and pacifying. "You'll have the main wedding gown. Can't you share just this once?" Dad nods as if this is a minor inconvenience, flicking his hand dismissively. "Your sister has always looked stunning in white." Their voices unlock years of memory. Giselle borrowing my designer heels for a date and returning them scraped and warped beyond repair. My vintage leather purse coming back with foundation ground into the lining. The cashmere sweater I saved 3 paychecks to afford, stretched out of shape after her quick weekend getaway. Each time I swallowed my frustration. Family comes first. I told myself that like a mantra, burying resentment so deeply I almost forgot it was there. Last winter flashes across my mind. The outfit I curated carefully for Senator Graham's daughter, the client who could have propelled my styling career into a different orbit. Giselle asking to borrow it for just an hour before I delivered it. The red wine blooming across the custom jacket like an open wound. "This is strike one," my boss had warned, eyes cool and unforgiving. When I confronted my parents, they shrugged it away. "Accidents happen. She's your sister." I straighten now, shoulders aligning, spine firm. Something inside me shifts into place, like fault lines settling after years of silent pressure. "Not this time." The words leave my mouth steady and clear. "Take it off." The air thickens. Giselle's lips part, shock widening her eyes at the unfamiliar experience of being denied. "You can't be serious," she laughs, but it rings hollow. "Mom, tell her she's being ridiculous." Mom reaches toward me, palms raised. "Helena, sweetie, there's no need to create drama. Giselle just wants to feel special too." "Take it off," I repeat, my tone lower now. "Now, or I call off the wedding." The threat hovers between us. Dad's face reddens instantly, anger flashing, but something in my expression silences him. "Fine," Giselle snaps. "I didn't want your stupid dress anyway." Her fingers tug roughly at the zipper. I step forward and catch her wrist before she can damage the satin. "The earrings too," I say softly. She removes Grandma's diamonds with exaggerated slowness and drops them into my palm with deliberate force. The stones feel icy against my skin. After she storms out in dramatic fury, I hang the dress carefully back in my closet. My parents' icy glares follow me, silently promising consequences. My pulse still races as I smooth my hand over the satin. For 27 years, I've stepped aside, made space, kept the peace. The reliable daughter, the understanding one, the accommodating one. Staring at the dress, my dress, I make a quiet vow. Not anymore. They've taken enough. This wedding will belong to me, and God help anyone who tries to claim another fragment of it. The next afternoon, James drops his notebook onto our coffee table and massages his temples. "So that's it? We're locking in the honey lavender cake with buttercream frosting?" I nod from the sofa. After weeks of sampling flavors and debating details, we finally settled on the final major decision. James reaches for my hand, thumb tracing slow circles across my palm. 3 more weeks, Helena. Just 3 more weeks until you're Mrs. Helena Wells." The doorbell rings before I can answer. I glance at my phone. No scheduled visitors. James lifts an eyebrow but goes to open the door. My parents' voices drift inside, my mother already commenting on her furniture before she's fully entered. They never call. They simply appear, summoned by entitlement and wedding planning. "We brought the family wedding planner," Mom announces, sweeping into the living room with a leather binder I've never seen. Dad follows, scanning our apartment as if auditing it. "We've made a few adjustments," Mom continues, spreading the binder across our coffee table, covering our own plans. "Just minor tweaks to make everything perfect." James sits beside me, his fingers lacing through mine again. Mom flips to a page labeled bridal party and taps a new note. We've added Giselle as co-bride with a matching white gown and coordinating jewelry. The room tilts. Co-bride? James leans forward. There's no such thing as a co-bride. It's our wedding. Mom waves him off. It's very modern, very European. It's not modern, I say evenly. And it's not happening. And it's not happening. Dad clears his throat. Helena, be reasonable. Your sister has been looking forward to this. Looking forward to what? My wedding? To sharing the day, Mom corrects tightly. After they leave, promising further discussion, I open my laptop and search through my email. A sick feeling coils in my stomach. I type wedding into the search bar. Dozens of emails surface between my mother and our venue coordinator. Conversations I was never copied on. James reads over my shoulder, his breath catching. Instructions about highlighting both sisters equally. Plans for 2 bridal suites, carefully balanced photo schedules. My phone buzzes. Giselle has tagged me in an Instagram post. I open it with dread. She's standing in my after-party dress, altered slightly, captioned, "Final fitting for my wedding look, sister ceremony, double the brides." Comments flood in with confusion and congratulations. I didn't know you were engaged too. What's a sister ceremony? So exciting.
My phone rings. Aunt Catherine from Virginia. "Helena, honey, your mother told me about this unusual arrangement. Is this what you want?" Call after call follows. Explanations blur together. Confusion multiplies. When I confront Mom, her voice is soaked in martyrdom. "You've always been strong, Helena. Giselle needs this. She's still fragile after that breakup." Dad joins in. "We're paying for half. We have input." Only Aunt Martha speaks plainly when she visits the next day. "They've been planning this since your engagement announcement. Your mother ordered Giselle's dress the same week you ordered yours. I overheard them. She said it would be easier to ask forgiveness than permission." Later, I visit Grandma Rose. Her small apartment feels like sanctuary. "This is your day, Helena. No one else's." When I return home, James has spreadsheets open. "We can cover the costs ourselves," he says quietly. "We'll make it work." Sarah, my maid of honor, arrives with wine and determination. "I'm documenting everything," she says, listing each boundary violation. Then my boss calls. "One of our clients mentioned your double wedding. Want to explain?" I brace for reprimand. Instead, he says flatly, "Your sister already cost us that Senator Graham campaign. Don't let her costing your wedding too." That night, my parents text their ultimatum: include Giselle or lose their financial support. Subtle threats about Grandma's care. Hints about professional reputation. 2 days later, Giselle appears on a local morning show. "All I wanted was to share in my sister's special day," she says tearfully. She threatened to cancel the wedding. I slam my mug down. The host doesn't mention the unauthorized dress fitting or 27 years of entitlement. Within hours, social media erupts. Family should come first. Be the bigger person. Letters arrive from church members. "Honor thy father and mother." I drop them into recycling. At the studio Monday morning, I style Valerie Torres, an influencer with millions of followers. My phone vibrates relentlessly. "Is everything okay?" she asks. "I saw that segment." "It's complicated," I reply, feeling my worlds collide. After she leaves, Diana calls me into her office. The morning show clip plays silently on her screen. "This needs to stay out of the studio," she says evenly. "Clients come to us for perfection, not family soap operas. Keep it together or take a leave of absence." I nod, throat tight. It won't be an issue. Tuesday evening, I drive to Grandmother Rose's cottage in Pasadena. The familiar scent of cinnamon and old books wraps around me as I step inside. Her walls display family photos spanning decades, including one of my mother and her sister at a Grandmother Rose. Grandmother Rose guides me to her worn floral sofa. The tears come without warning. They're making me the villain. Giselle went on television. The church congregation sent letters. My boss threatened my job. She holds my hand, her skin paper thin, but her grip surprisingly strong. "Your mother did the same to her sister." I look up, startled. "What?" "At Luisa's wedding. Your mother wore white, insisted on standing next to the bride in photos, demanded matching flowers. When Louise objected, your grandfather sided with your mother." She sighs. "They haven't spoken in 30 years. I didn't know. I need to. Some patterns need to be broken, dear. Someone has to be brave enough." She squeezes my fingers. "And you've always been the strong one." Grandmother Rose stands slowly, her knees creaking. "I have something that might help you." She leads me to her bedroom, where a cedar chest sits at the foot of her bed. The hinges protest as she lifts the lid. Inside, beneath a crocheted blanket, lies a stack of legal documents. "What are these?" I ask, taking the folder she hands me. "Look at the house deed first." I scan the document, my eyes catching on my own name next to hers. "I'm a co-owner of your house?" She nods. "Since your 25th birthday." The next document shows the family trust. My name appears prominently as executor of my grandmother's estate.
Grandma, I don't understand. I've been watching this happen for years, she says simply. Your parents have always allowed Giselle to take what's yours. I wanted to make sure they couldn't take everything. The weight of what she's telling me settles on my shoulders. You've been protecting me all this time. Now you can protect yourself. The next morning, I meet Tasha, a wedding planner not connected to my mother's social circle. Her office walls display photos of unique celebrations, none featuring matching sister gowns. Tell me what you want, she says, emphasizing the word. For the first time since my engagement, someone asks what I want instead of telling me what I should accommodate. Security, I say immediately. People who will enforce the guest list and keep certain family members from disrupting things. Tasha doesn't blink. We can arrange that. That afternoon, James's college roommate Marcus, now an IT security consultant, helps me change every password connected to our wedding. Vendor accounts, venue booking, photography portal. Your family won't be able to make unauthorized changes, he promises, typing rapidly. I've added two-factor authentication to everything. I call the venue directly, speaking with the manager instead of the coordinator my mother befriended. I'm the bride, the only bride, I clarify. Any changes must come directly from me or my fiancé, no exceptions. Understood, Miss Carter. We'll update our files immediately. The satisfaction of reclaiming my wedding spreads through me like warmth after winter. I transfer funds from my savings account to cover my parents' portion of the costs. The confirmation email arrives with a finality that feels like freedom. That night, I sleep in our apartment with my phone turned off. No text demanding explanations. No calls filled with guilt. No social media notifications about family loyalty. James finds me on the balcony the next morning, watching the sunrise with a cup of coffee. You look different, he says quietly. I feel different. For the first time in weeks, my shoulders don't carry the familiar tension. The knot in my stomach has loosened. I've spent my life trying to keep peace by giving pieces of myself away. Now I'm gathering those pieces back, one boundary at a time. Some might call it selfish, I call it survival. Later that week, after I thoroughly checked every part of the plan, I met my family for dinner. It's time to begin. You were right, I tell my mother, watching her shoulders relax as she serves another helping of pot roast. Family should come first. The dining room falls into stunned silence. Dad's fork pauses halfway to his mouth. Giselle, sitting across from me, narrows her eyes in suspicion before a slow smile spreads across her face. I knew you'd come around, Mom says, patting my hand. The diamond on her wedding band catches the light, reminding me of Grandma Rose's earrings. We all want your wedding to be perfect. For everyone, Dad adds pointedly, reaching for his wineglass. I nod, swallowing the bitter taste in my mouth.
Actually, I was thinking Giselle might want to try on the after-party dress one more time for proper measurements. Giselle nearly knocks over her water glass. Really? Really? I confirm, pulling my phone from my purse. Maybe we could take some photos for the memory book. Later, as Giselle twirls in my bedroom, I snap photo after photo. The ivory satin flows around her ankles as she poses dramatically beside my dressing table. Mom hovers nearby, her smile triumphant. The earrings dangle from Giselle's ears, catching prismatic light with each movement. These photos will be treasured forever, Mom says, squeezing my arm. I smile, clicking one final shot. Yes, they will. While they chatter about shoe options, I step into the hallway, thumb moving swiftly over my phone screen. The carefully crafted email sends with a quiet whoosh. My chest loosens for the first time in weeks. The next morning, my social media post goes live at precisely 8 a.m. when Dad starts his workday and Mom checks her accounts over coffee. A bride deserves respect, reads the caption. Below it, a gallery unfolds. My designer shoes before Giselle borrowed them, then after, scuffed beyond repair. My vintage purse, once pristine, now stained with makeup. My cashmere sweater, stretched beyond recognition. And finally, Giselle wearing my wedding after-party dress and grandmother's earrings. The comments flood in immediately. My professional colleagues rally with supportive messages and a hashtag that starts trending by noon. Bride not bullied. My phone begins vibrating nonstop. I silence it, sliding it into my desk drawer at work. My boss passes by, glancing at my computer screen, where the post continues gathering momentum. About time, she says simply, and walks away. By lunch, 3 wedding vendors have publicly confirmed they will only take instructions from the actual bride, Helena Carter. My mother has called 17 times. I send each call to voicemail. What are you doing? James asks when I arrive at the bank that afternoon. His voice holds no judgment, only curiosity. Reclaiming what's mine, I answer, squeezing his hand before approaching the bank manager's desk. I spread the documentation across the polished surface. Receipt copies, transfer records, email confirmations, evidence of every dollar I contributed to our wedding fund, which my parents conveniently control. These payments were made under false pretenses, I explain calmly. I'd like them refunded to this account instead. The manager reviews the paperwork, nodding slowly.
Everything appears in order, Miss Carter. James watches in quiet amazement as the manager processes the transfers. 20 minutes later, we walk out with financial leverage eliminated. My parents can no longer threaten to withhold funds they no longer control. I record a brief message on my parents' answering machine. I've handled the payments. The wedding will proceed as James and I planned it. The dress disappearance is my final move. I know Giselle's schedule by heart. 27 years of accommodating her has its advantages. While she's at her hair appointment, I empty my closet of everything wedding-related. My phone buzzes with Giselle's name 30 minutes later. Where is it? Her voice trembles with rage. Mom and Dad are furious. I imagine they are. I fold the ivory dress carefully into an acid-free box at my grandmother's house, miles away from prying hands. You can't do this, Giselle shrieks. That dress looked better on me anyway. Some things aren't meant to be shared. I place Grandma Rose's earrings in their velvet case beside the dress, especially when they were never yours to begin with. I end the call amid her protests, powering off my phone completely. Grandmother watches from her armchair, a small smile playing at the corners of her mouth. They'll be livid, she says, not sounding troubled by the prospect. Let them be. I close the lid on the box, running my fingers over the smooth surface. They've had control of my narrative for 27 years. The wedding is mine. Grandmother nods, reaching for my hand. And so, finally, are you. On the wedding day, I arrive at the venue 3 hours before the ceremony to find chaos already brewing. Through the glass doors, I spot Mom gesturing dramatically to the venue coordinator, while Dad waves what looks like our contract in the air. Giselle stands slightly behind them, draped in a white dress suspiciously similar to my wedding gown. We had an understanding about the sister ceremony, Mom insists, her voice carrying across the marble foyer. It's a family tradition. The venue coordinator looks baffled. Ma'am, there's nothing in our paperwork about two brides. It's a verbal agreement, Dad blusters. We could pursue legal action for breach of contract. I grip James' hand tighter as we watch through the window. His college roommates, our impromptu security team, stand at strategic points around the entrance, looking both professional and immovable in their suits. Ready? James asks, squeezing my fingers. I nod, more than ever. When we enter, Mom's face pales. Giselle's mouth forms a perfect O of surprise. They didn't expect me for another hour. Plenty of time to rearrange my wedding. Miss Carter, the coordinator rushes over, relief washing across her face. Perhaps you can clarify? There is no sister ceremony, I say, loud enough for the small crowd of workers to hear. My parents and sister are confused. I turn to Marcus, James' former linebacker friend, now working security. Please ensure they stay in the designated family area until the ceremony. They're not authorized to make changes to any arrangements. Dad's face flushes crimson. You can't. I can, I interrupt, my voice steady. And I am. 2 hours later, I stand in the bridal suite with Grandma Rose adjusting my veil. My wedding gown, the main one, not the reception dress Giselle tried to claim, cascades around me in waves of delicate lace. You look magnificent, Grandma says, her fingers trembling slightly as she secures the veil with a vintage pearl pin. Strong. Sarah, my maid of honor, returns from scouting ceremony space. Your parents got the message. They're sitting in the front row looking like they've swallowed lemons, she grins. And Giselle keeps trying to make her dress look more bridal by adding flowers from the centerpieces. I should feel nervous, but a strange calm has settled over me. Let's do this. The processional music swells as I take Grandma's arm. We plan this carefully, no father walking me down the aisle. Instead, the woman who showed me what real support means guides me toward my future. As we enter, I hear the celebrant's voice ring clear. Today, we gather to witness the union of Helena and James, only. She places deliberate emphasis on the final word, making several guests uncomfortably.
Mom's smile looks brittle. Dad stares straight ahead. Giselle fidgets with her costume jewelry, a poor imitation of Grandma's diamonds currently nestled in my bridal suite safe. I lock eyes with James and never look away. His smile becomes my anchor as I glide past the family that tried to steal even this moment. The reception begins with delicious tension as I emerge from the bridal suite in my ivory satin after-party dress, the one from the ambush. Grandma's diamond earrings catch the chandelier light with every movement of my head. The symmetry feels perfect. You reclaimed it, Grandma whispers, adjusting one earring. Everything, I confirm. Giselle sits at the family table, her expression fluctuating between outrage and calculation. Mom's anger shows in her white-knuckled grip on her champagne glass. The photographer captures it all, immortalizing their displeasure alongside my joy. When it's time for toasts, I rise first. To those who truly support us and respect our boundaries, I say, raising my glass. Toward Grandma, then James, then Sarah. Notably absent from my gesture, the front family table. The party flows perfectly until I spot Giselle sidling toward the DJ booth.
Mom follows close behind, whispering urgently to the wedding planner, who shakes her head firmly. Special sister toast, I hear Mom insist. It's traditional. Before Giselle can grab the microphone, James's best man intercepts her with practiced ease. The bride's playlist is quite specific, he says pleasantly, steering her away. I cross the dance floor, stopping directly in front of my sister. Not today, I tell her quietly. Not ever again. Her eyes widen. For once, she seems to understand I mean it. 20 minutes later, Dad corners me near the cake table. We need to talk, now. I follow my parents into a small side room where Mom immediately dissolves into tears. You've humiliated us in front of everyone we know, Dad hisses. You'll regret this public display. Mom dabs her eyes dramatically. After all we've done for you, the sacrifices, the support. I study them both, really look at them, perhaps for the first time. Mom's tears that appear and vanish with strategic precision. Dad's authority that crumbles when challenged. Thank you, I say finally. They look startled. For what? Mom asks cautiously. For showing me exactly who you are. I straighten my grandmother's earrings. Now I know exactly who I need to be. And Dad steps forward. If you walk out that door, you'll what? I ask. Take my car, my inheritance, my wedding dress? You've been taking pieces of me my entire life. There's nothing left for you to claim. I open the door, pausing in the threshold. Enjoy the cake. I picked chocolate because it was the only flavor Giselle hates. The reception continues without them. James finds me on the dance floor, pulling me close as we sway to our song. Over his shoulder, I watch my grandmother chatting happily with his parents, her diamonds catching the light with every laugh. Some jewelry isn't just decoration. Sometimes it's armor. 6 months later, I stand in the bay window of our Connecticut living room, watching autumn leaves spiral across the lawn. 3 states and 800 miles now separate us from my family. The distance feels like oxygen. More coffee? James asks, patting across the hardwood floors in his weekend socks. Please. I accept the mug, inhaling the rich aroma. I was just thinking how quiet it is. No unexpected visits, no drama, no one borrowing my things. James settles beside me on the window seat. Your mother called again yesterday. I know. I curl my fingers around the warm ceramic. I'll call back next week, on my terms, with my boundaries in place. And if they push back, I shrug. Then the conversation ends. They're allowing I mean what I say now. James kisses my temple. I'm proud of you. I can breathe here. I whisper. The simple truth of it still astonishing. Grandmother's silver Buick pulls into our driveway later that afternoon. Her move to the senior living community 10 minutes from our house was the best decision we made after the wedding. She settles at our kitchen table while I prepare tea. Her arthritis has worsened, but her eyes remain sharp as ever. I finalized everything with she says, sliding a folder across the table. You're the executor now and the primary beneficiary. The papers blur beneath my suddenly damp eyes. Grandma, you don't have to. You were the only one who saw them for what they were. Her weathered hand covers mine. This family has a pattern. Look, she opens a photo album I've never seen before. Pictures of my mother as a child, always stepping aside for her sister. My grandmother, young and resigned, surrendering her dreams to her brother's demands. 4 generations of doormats, she says with surprising frankness. Until you. 2 weeks later, I stand in my new styling studio downtown, arranging the magazine that features my wedding day look on the reception counter. My phone buzzes with a new client booking, a television actress whose Instagram post about my boundary-setting bride style has brought an influx of business. What would make this moment perfect is knowing Giselle saw the latest issue of Style Quarterly, where her favorite influencer wears my signature accessory collection. I feel a satisfied smile spread across my face as I arrange the display. Creating, not accommodating. Building, not surrendering. The package arrives on Tuesday. No return address, but I recognize my mother's handwriting. Inside lies my childhood diary, its purple cover faded. I flip through pages filled with my adolescent handwriting, documenting each borrowed item that never returned. A note falls between the pages. Perhaps we should have listened. Not an apology, but acknowledgement. It's something. I place the diary on a bookshelf, visible but not central. A chapter closed, not forgotten. Weeks later, Thanksgiving arrives with the scent of rosemary and warmth. Our dining table extends to welcome grandmother and the friends who stood with us through everything. Sarah arranges flowers while James carves the turkey. My phone rings in the study, my parents' number. Do you need to get that? Grandmother asks, knowing exactly who's calling. Tomorrow, I decide, returning to the table. Today is for joy. Today is for joy. We raise glasses as James offers a toast to chosen family and hard-earned peace. I look around at these people who love without conditions, who support without manipulation, and feel the rightness of this moment. Some things are worth keeping, some things are worth sharing, and some things, like your self-respect, should never be given away. As we laugh and pass dishes, I wonder what stories others might share about drawing their lines in the sand. What finally gave them the courage to say, enough? Perhaps their journeys echo mine. The phone stops ringing. Tomorrow is soon enough.